Thanks so much for tuning in to the Pick a Side podcast. This week is dedicated to Women's Financial Literacy Week. We're going to be talking about credit, real estate, insurance, multi-level marketing, and so much more. So make sure you get your pen and your pad and get ready to write so many notes down. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody going? And the Pick a Side Nation, this is your host, James Finley, for the Pick a Side podcast. And this is day 3 for the first annual virtual Women's Financial Literacy Week. We have a special treat for you guys today because we have a dynamic duo of what we call the Hearts. This is Carole and Candiss Hart. This is the mother and daughter tandem with WFG, and 2 ladies who I've been knowing for quite some time. I don't want to even tell you what school they went to because it seems like I'm saying that on every podcast, so I'm not even going to mention it. But you guys already know probably where I'm getting ready to go with this. However, they are coming on today to talk about a little bit of their journey and how they've gotten to the point to where they are right now, and try to educate us on a little bit of financial literacy, as well as life insurance, as well as death insurance. So we have a lot to cover in a little bit of time, but so much of me talking. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. Hello.
Good to have you guys. Good to have you guys into the lab. So, hey, so Carole, let me ask you. So, COVID-19 has kind of kept everybody indoors. Can't really go anywhere. Can't really do anything. So, how have you been handling COVID-19?
Oh, COVID-19. I don't mean to dismantle what it's done for some people, but it actually happened for me. It allowed me to look at the fact that I could retire from 35 years of teaching. I realized that what education was going to look like didn't fit what I had signed up for 35 years ago. So I was able to exit that and then smoothly transition into the world of financial literacy. So being stuck inside has actually been a blessing for me because I'm still able to do what I love in terms of the teaching platform. So
yeah.
I'm good.
That's great. What about you, Candiss?
COVID-19 has been interesting, to say the least. It has been interesting. I've learned a lot about, how much I just value my freedom. Being inside and being confined to a space is totally opposite of my spirit and everything that I'm about. I'm very adventurous, so I've been challenged to find ways to still be that person inside. It's pretty difficult, I'll say, but on the business side, I've definitely grown and realized that technology is too resourceful and too useful for me not to be taking advantage of it. And so on the business side of things, my reach has been further. So I'm thankful that I've been put in this confinement to be able to, I guess, realize something as simple as that.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you guys said that before we came on the show. I was telling your mom that I had gotten a call from my employer who graciously let me know that my vacation was over with and it was time to come back to work. But thank God for modern technology. I don't have to go into nobody's office, and I can do this from the comforts of my home. And I think that probably is going to be a way of life for a lot of companies. But, when you have your own business and when you can do your own thing, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that leads me into this. So, Carole, you just spoke about that 35 years of teaching and how you was able to retire. We know it's been a long grind, every single day, getting up, dealing with children and other things that you had to deal with in the, as far as you've been teaching. So what has it been like since the 35 years, has ended?
Man, I'm so grateful to God. I'm not going to have church on a Thursday. But when I think about how he has ordered these steps years ago and just the beauty of how we cannot see what he is working out for us has just been such a blessing to me. Just being able to look at what, imagine the three of us looking at each other. Imagine this screen with 22 children on it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Right.
It's not what, and having raised two children, especially this one right here, she's a social butterfly. What would it look like for her to have to not be in school and be on a computer every day? There is a ton of things wrong with that platform. And I won't use this show for that, but trust and believe it is not what it's supposed to be. So I'm so grateful that God had put me in a position. I had done enough years that I could walk away, but more importantly, he had lined me up for the beautiful thing with WFG. It allows me to, oh, that's a big deal. It has changed my life.
That's great. That's great. And so, Candice, so what about you? Now, you graduated from that school in Westwood, and we ain't gonna get to that, but whatever. So you graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles. I won't even get an acronym for it, but you graduated, and what was your major?
So I had a few areas of study. I am a woman of many hats, I should say. I was on the pre-law track, but my major was African American studies, and I had a double minor in theater and education studies.
So stop right there. So you went to school. How many years did you take? 4 or 5?
4.
So you went to school 4 years, graduated, and pretty much to say you may not be doing exactly what you went to school for.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So now, which this is a good segue to start with you, Candice. So you went to school and you did all of that, only to find out what?
Oh boy. I went to school and I did all of that only to find out that I was not going to go to law school. And although I'm not directly using my degrees in, let's say, a corporation type of setting where I'm an employee working towards directly with African American studies, theater, or education, in an indirect way, I am applying some of the things that I learned. So I will say that even with what I was able to learn from the pre-law route, I would say that I applied that strategy more so in the way that I deal with my business relations and just transactions and things of that nature. But no, I'm not an attorney. I am not directly using my degree in any way, shape, or form. I'm actually in finance.
Yeah. So let's talk finance. Let's talk financial literacy.
Yes.
This week is all about trying to educate our community and just see where things are, with our community. Our community has suffered for lack of knowledge because we just have not been taught. Even in school, we were taught algebra, calculus, trigonometry, this and that, but we were never really taught on how to save money, on what's the importance of credit, what's the importance of this and that. So Candice, you kind of started out with WFG before your mom did. So why don't you kind of give us a little journey on what you was kind of going through and how you got to WFG, and when you had that aha moment where it kind of opened up your eyes and you was like, I'm not doing this, what I went to school for.
Yes. So I just want to backtrack because I think it's so funny the way that you pronounced algebra. You said algebra.
Yeah. Because I didn't like it.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's why I think it's so funny. I didn't like it either. And then after actually being in finance and knowing that the school system only taught us things like algebra, and we're not applying it to our personal finance, I think that's really the root of the conversation. I realized after graduating from UCLA, of course, initially, I thought that I was going to pursue that law degree. So I applied to law schools. I got some good decisions, but I quickly found out that I was not going to be offered a full ride scholarship. So for the first time in my life, I had to make a financial decision, and I had no financial education. You know, algebra didn't cut it. You know, so from that moment, I knew I had to pursue business ownership. And the only way that I was going to achieve financial independence was by being in control of my finances. And at the young age of 21 years old, when I sat down and spoke to my mentors that were in their 60s and 70s, very successful attorneys, for them to look at me dead in my eyes and tell me, yes, Candice, I am a successful attorney. You know that. However, I'm still paying off my law school debts. Immediately, my eyes opened. You know, my perspective, it broadened. I looked at that law degree from a money lens for the first time. I only was looking at things from a community service lens initially. But for my mentors that had served their community for 50 plus years, for them to still be in debt when it came to their personal finances, I knew that there was a bigger problem. And for that, in that moment, I knew that I had to be a business owner. I'll be honest with you, I had no idea that WFG would be the platform to help me go towards that I should say profession. But I'm thankful that it is. I was invited to a workshop, and I thought that I was showing up to network for real estate, honestly. And I got there and I was taught a lot of just fundamental concepts about how money works and the power of really being a business owner, especially with the help of a platform like what WFG has to offer. And I immediately understood it. I immediately knew that this was a resource that would help me create generational wealth for generations to come. And I knew that with this type of education, I would be able to service my community in a way that they had never been able to be serviced before. So I immediately took action on it. It's been amazing.
Yeah. So Carole, now, so you have this brilliant mind of a child of yours, and she goes through UCLA, she graduates, and you know that, you know, she wanted to get into law. And so she makes the decision not to. And so I'm not sure, you know, what you and your husband was thinking, husband being Craig Hart. And but what was that mindset? And then when she came and introduced you to WFG, then how was all that? And what were you thinking the first time that she came to you and told you about WFG?
Oh, well, that's real easy. I wasn't worried about her having an allegiance to her degree from UCLA. Candice has always been a superstar, and I've always trusted, you know, her path and her journey. So I was supported whatever she wanted to support. If she wanted to go to Rio and grow grass, then she was going to Rio and she was going to grow grass. I was cool with that. It didn't matter to me. So that was fine. I had no problems with her taking her own journey and path. What was an eye-opener was when she sat down and looked at my finances, and we had a conversation of the things she had learned. And at 56, at the time I was 56, there was my 21 or 22-year-old telling me things that I had no clue about, none. And I had to get past the fact that, wow, this is something I couldn't teach her. And then the teacher light bulb went off, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. If I don't know this and she didn't know it, think of all the other people in the world that don't know it. And that to me was a game changer. That was it. I looked at it.
So, you know, Carole, you and I, we kind of, you know, from that same era where our parents, I didn't get sit down. I wasn't sat down in the kitchen and was like, hey, listen, this is how we going to do money. That conversation never really happened. Of course, you know, hey, you got to say, all I was taught, hey, you got to save your money for a rainy day. You got to save, you got to save, you got to save. But we weren't I wasn't taught where to put my money at. Do I need to put mutual funds or anything like that? None of that stuff was taught to me, at the round table in the kitchen. Nor was with credit and all that stuff, it wasn't really hammered into me other than, man, you got to make sure you keep your credit good. But it was never explained to me. So as your child is of being 21, 22 is telling you about your finances. And listen, I applaud you because as parents, sometimes we don't really, let our kids know exactly what I'm making, how much I'm making, and this and that. That information, we all Black folks. I don't know what the other race do, but I know Black folks. We keep that. We think that information is so personal, and that ain't none of your business. Can you stay out of that? So when what allowed you to be so transparent, first of all, where she could have an opportunity to be able to discuss that with you?
It's just in my DNA. I'm just a transparent person, for one. I mean, I just do. I just share, and maybe I'll give some of it's the DNA, but some of it's just being an educator, and the fact that you have to be lifelong learners. When you stop learning, right, you stop living. And money, no matter, even now with the clients we help, I say we could all come from different backgrounds, neighborhoods, but the one thing that does connect all of us is money. Let's be real about it.
Cool. So Candiss, with WFG, and that's World Financial Group. So tell the audience exactly what do you do over at WFG?
Yes, of course. So hello, audience. I'm a senior broker with WFG, and though I want to just spend a little bit of time to explain exactly how the platform works and how once achieving that senior broker title, I was able to then branch off, own my book of business, and then start my own company. So the way that WFG works, you come into a business platform, very similar to the way that an Uber driver just plugs into the Uber platform. And then they use all of the resources that Uber gives them to make money as an independent contractor. And then I don't know if they have the potential to grow with Uber, but let's bring that concept back to WFG. You come into WFG having, let's say, no financial education, having no finance degree even, as you can see from myself especially, but you're just able to plug into the business platform and utilize the resources to then pursue your licensing, pursue building an agency if that's the route that you would like to take. And that's the route that me and my mother both chose to take. So as I grew my agency, I also introduced other people to the business platform. And a part of that meant spreading financial education to them, but simultaneously mentoring them and coaching them so that they could be doing the same exact thing that I'm doing in growing their own agencies. Now, once I became a senior broker with WFG, at that point, I now own my book of business. So all of the clientele that I have as in regards to helping them save money, invest money with tax-free strategies, with strategies that get their money to work for them at very high interest rates, and also strategies that de-risk their investment portfolio. So going with strategies that are more index-like, where you do not have any potential to lose any money in the market. Then I then branch off and I own that book of business. So all of that residual income, one day, whenever I do pass away and I have children, those children will be inheriting that book of business. So that's the part of the business that creates generational wealth. Very, very key, especially in our community, right? If it hasn't been done already, how do we get a head start to get it done now? And then on the services side, with life insurance and different kinds of investments, you can also implement that.
So how has it been, Candiss, when you're able to, and I've heard you speak several times. So how is it when you can go and sit into a living room, back then, now we probably can't do that too much, but what is it like to be able to, you see a couple or you see someone and they really don't have any concept
Mm-hmm.
on finances at all.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see that the light bulb, has come on for that individual, that couple,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of gratification is that for you?
Oh my gosh. It's so gratifying. I don't even know if I can put it into the right kind of articulate words for you, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like butterflies in my stomach, It's that moment where I'm having flashbacks for the first time that I realized that
Mm-hmm.
light bulb was going off in my head. And I just know that it's not the end. That's actually the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the very beginning, because now that you understand, now that things are starting to click for you, now let's apply them. So then that's my time to step in and actually help these people apply for whatever concepts or whatever strategies are going to help them get to their financial goals. And then
Yeah.
in that process, that's when I'm now servicing them.
Yeah. So Carole, so for you, you've always had a platform to get in front of a lot of folks and talk to the masses about maybe XYZ. So now you're going into her home and you're talking to people. And so the business that you guys are doing, nobody put a gun up to your head to say, hey, this is what you need to do, XYZ. But you guys kind of have a business to where you're educating people. And regardless if they decide, hey, I want to go this route, if they don't, they're still you guys are still leaving seeds of education about financial wealth. So Carole, what is that like for you, and the gratification that you get when you're able to still have those teachable moments with people that really didn't know about it from the beginning?
Well, first of all, education wasn't even my first pick. I had no idea I was going to be a teacher. It's like one of those kids, oh, my
Wow.
girl, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher. That wasn't me. Teaching found
Mm-hmm.
me. But it was obviously a good fit. I think it's a gift that God gave me, and it's a talent that I've been able to foster. So when
Right.
I'm sitting with someone, regardless if it's virtual or not, and they do finally get it, the gratification is huge. And what I also figured out, it doesn't stop with who I'm sitting in front of. Because when we plant that seed in knowledge, and the hope is that, yes, they move forward and execute a plan that will directly benefit them. But I trust heavily that the knowledge that they have, it's lifelong. And that's the real key, is that in order for us to change our community, it happens one family at a time. And so the goal is to put it in front of as many families as possible so that we can in turn touch as many people as possible.
All right. So I'm going to throw out a couple of phrases, and you guys let me know what this is relatable to.
Okay.
GoFundMe, car washes, chicken dinners, donations, Crenshaw and Florence at a stoplight with a sign. So tell me what you might associate that to.
Funerals.
Yeah.
Exactly. Funerals.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm prepared.
So let's segue into the life insurance game for a little bit. Okay. So life insurance for our community, people of color, has been something where, for whatever reason, we tend to think that death will never ever happen. And so we just feel like we just gonna live, and whenever we do die, we just die and that's it. And we're not thinking about what possibly will be left behind and the carnage that we could possibly leave left behind. So Candiss, why is it that when life insurance is discussed with Black folks, what is it about that we're just not getting?
Well, I think there's a few reasons. I'll say that the most popular reason in the community of Black people is because, for one, they have a misconception of how life insurance works in general. I will say that most people think that it's some form of scam, and that is based on the way that life insurance used to be, I should say, provided to communities years and years and years ago, before I was even aware or even born, honestly. So I'll let my mom speak to that one. But the second one is that most people, depending on your literacy level when it comes to finance in general, most people think if I get life insurance, somebody's going to want to come kill me. And
yeah, that's right.
You know, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. Trust and believe.
It's crazy to think about, though, because on a life insurance policy, there's somebody specific or some people specific that inherit that money. And it's literally in the contract. So a regular average Joe just can't come up to you and kill you and then somehow inherit the money.
Right.
That's not how it works. You know?
Right. However, the person whose name is on that policy can probably go get somebody to. All right, Carole. So tell me, Carole, about the life insurance. So how has the life insurance been? You know, when we were growing up, I know my parents, they used to have this a little policy. I forgot the name of the person, but it was always somebody coming to your door, knocking on your door, wanting to purchase life insurance. So tell me how life insurance today may be a little different than what it was when our parents was coming up.
Oh my God. So yeah, just a little backdrop, because Candice, I'll let my mother speak upon that. The insurance man, Golden State Mutual.
That's it. Golden State. Yep, there it is.
Golden State Mutual on the corner of Jefferson.
Adams and Western.
Adams and Western. There you go. Came to the house every month, took my mama's little money, and then would be gone. And when she expired, I understood at that point that she had paid over maybe $20,000 into a policy that was worth $15,000, maybe $13,000. So that's what we grew up with knowing. The magical thing about life insurance is the key word life. It is life. Yes, there is a benefit for when you do transition, but the biggest thing about life insurance is that you benefit from it while you are living. There are options, there are vehicles, there are strategies so that you can capitalize on your investment while you are living, breathing, walking, and actually need some assistance. Will it be there if I die? Absolutely. That is an option. So when people think about life insurance, they got to open up their eyes. Think about a flip phone or a brick phone. We don't use those anymore. They don't meet our needs. So neither does the old concept of life insurance, which, does what it does in the event that you do pass away. So it has changed drastically.
So Carole, take us into, a lot of life insurance agents right now, they'll come and talk about whole life insurance, term life insurance. So let's educate everyone on what's the difference between those two.
Excellent. Okay. So we'll go with the most popular, which is term. Term insurance allows you to have coverage in the event that you die for a certain term. It only covers you from either 10 years, 15, 20, 25, maybe 30. You don't use it, you don't use it. The only way you use it is you got to die. And then you don't use it, but your beneficiaries use it. So it's kind of like when you pay your car insurance. Month after month after month, we pay our car insurance. And if we don't have an accident or we don't use it, that money's gone. We don't get any value of what we put into it. Whole life, not a problem. It is permanent insurance. It will give you coverage. But people got attracted to whole life insurance that came along because it says, "Ooh, it's a way I can save some money. This is a way that I can make money while I'm putting money away." True enough, but you're making like this much money on it. The return of the investment. I've had a plethora of clients who were staggeringly disappointed when they took a look at what they had accumulated over the years in their whole life policy versus what they could have when they do business with our premier product. So it's there. It is a vehicle. But again, I guess it's going not from a flip phone to what was that phone, Can't you had a Razor?
A Razor.
Yeah. So you're no longer the big brick phone. and it's now an older version of a flip phone. So is it doing something for you? Yeah. When you think about it, we as a community, we always want the best and the brightest of whatever it is. We want the best shoes, the best car, whatever. We need to be the same way with protecting our families and ourselves. Get the best, get the brightest, get the newest.
Right. So Candice, you speak on life insurance as well. So are there any other types of insurance that, people can have to make sure that they're covered, when something happens to them?
Absolutely. There's several kinds of life insurance. So as my mom touched on, she explained what term insurance is. Nowadays, term insurance has even evolved. So it's still, you have insurance for a term of time, but you can also have something called living benefits, which includes critical illness. So if you were to have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, the doctor basically diagnoses you with a critical illness. You could use those funds to pay for those medical expenses. So in that event, now it's leverage. Instead of you going to use your personal money to pay for those medical expenses, you use your life insurance. Another form of living benefit is long-term care. And this one is huge. Because it's not really a matter of if I'll need long-term care. It's just a matter of when will I need it.
When.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So long-term care, this is a resource for you to receive 2% of whatever your death benefit is. So if you have, let's say, $1 million of life insurance, you would receive a check that's worth $20,000 on a monthly basis. And this is the funds that you would use to pay for the nurse that could be taking care of you, or physical therapy or something of that nature. So that's how term insurance has evolved, but permanent insurance has also evolved.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say, God forbid, something was to happen to me today. And let's just say that my insurance policy, I have it through WFG. I've purchased through you guys. So how does that process go in terms of my family being able to get the money to be able to put me away and all that kind of stuff? So talk about that whole, how that all works out.
Yes. So one thing to know about any kind of life insurance, regardless of what company it comes from, the life insurance benefit to the family will not pay out until your death certificate is finalized. And so that can take anywhere between 30 to 90 days on average. Okay, so we know that a funeral takes place a couple weeks after the death, if not 1 week after. So sometimes we'll see, like you said, a GoFundMe page or a church car wash, or the people on Crenshaw and Florence holding a sign trying to get money. And we'll assume they didn't have life insurance, or somebody should have been more responsible. But maybe they did. Maybe they did. Maybe it just has not paid out to them yet. And right now we have immediate expenses that have to be taken care of. So we're rushing to get the money. In that event, then you would want to get final expense coverage as well. So that way you have what we call bridge money to get you over that bridge until the life insurance is paid out to the beneficiaries.
Okay. So, Carole, now you have another aspect of this. So let's talk about death insurance. And it's something that is available. So let's talk about that is available as well.
The death insurance?
Yeah, that's the one where I know one time you were speaking to me about.
Right.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, that's the. That's what Candice was speaking on, that bridge money. So what I found also with our community is that we look at insurance as another expense. That's something else I got to pay for. I don't have money. I don't have another $100, $200 a month. This bridge money, which we're talking about, is a funeral concierge service. So it allows, and we're talking about the cost of being between $1 to $4 a day. $1 to $4 a day. We're not talking about you having to do huge buckets of money into this policy so that your family has this money to take care of your final expenses. So between $1 to $4 a day, you now have that bridge money so your family can handle the final expenses. And what I really love about that fact is it comes in 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days. That is vastly different than you saying, oh, we ain't going to have this money for until what, December?
Right.
2 days.
You know, and unfortunately, you know, we've had people that we've mutually known that has passed away and did not have things in order, and it's a burden on the family because the family has to be able to come up with XYZ money, and then you know sometimes embarrassing a little bit, but our community just has to do so much better, you know, with this. And so, you know, I really do appreciate you guys being able to educate, you know, our community. But what are some of the other things, Candice, that you think that our community should do in regards to insurance? Like, you know, how is it that the community can get wind of what you guys are doing?
Well, I'll be the first to tell you guys that what my mother and I do is actually free. So I know that people that come from low income communities like my own, or even a middle class community or middle class family, they'll have a concept of, well, I can't really afford that. You know, I can't afford to sit down with somebody and have them go over my finances, because the way that they understand financial advisory is that person has a fee and I can't afford that fee. So I just want to let you guys know that when we sit down and help you with your finances, it is 100% free, and there's no obligation for you to purchase anything or move forward with any kind of strategy. Our job is to just educate you first and foremost, so that way you can understand exactly what's going on with the finance game. How do you get in it? How can you benefit from it? And then if things make sense, we can help you with that, but it's not mandatory. So I think that's the first thing is people just breaking down the wall to actually sit down and talk about it, because without a discussion, you cannot become educated. And then from there, I would say just the stigma behind, or more so the perspective. So for example, we'll be quick to go to a fancy restaurant, right, and order something. And when the bill comes, we'll look at it, and maybe it was a date, and we'll look at the bill and say $100, that's not bad. But when it comes to us saving that $100 a month or investing that same $100 a month, then I can't afford it. But it's that same $100. It's just a matter of where are you allocating it, you know? The perspective shift is huge as well.
So Candice, so while you just mentioned about, you know, savings and money being allocated, so just really briefly talk to the importance of our Black community knowing where to put their money at and knowing who to talk to. You know, it's not all about taking that money and put it underneath your mattress. It's not about taking that money and putting it in your coat pocket or putting it in a sock or putting it in the Bible. You know, so talk about where that money should be going to.
So that money should actually be going to investments that can work for you. And I will say, insurance is not something nowadays. There's types of permanent life insurance that are not something that you're paying for. You're actually investing in them. I don't know, I can't remember her full name, but she is a woman that used to be on Love and Hip Hop, I want to say Atlanta. And I think in the past she had a career as a singer. Her name is Candice. That's the only reason I remember her, because we have the same name.
Candice Bird.
Yes, Candice Bird. There we go, with the K.
With a K, that's right.
She recently was on Instagram, and she was highlighted as she was speaking on a panel to a lot of people in Atlanta. a lot of Black people in Atlanta. And she was explaining to them that when she was younger and her career really took off, instead of really going out and splurging and spending money on frivolous things, she instead was investing about $100,000 into her life insurance policies every single year. And so now in her life, and even a few years ago, she was in a position where if the market crashed or it's a time like COVID-19, let's say, especially in 2008, those life insurance policies really saved her because she was able to go back and pull that money out tax-free. So what most people don't understand about life insurance and how it has evolved, it's no longer something that you pay for and that you only benefit from once you pass away, or that the other person benefits from. Nowadays, it's an investment. So you should actually be utilizing this resource before it's too late, because life insurance happens to be a tax-free investment. Unlike many other investments where you have to pay taxes on that money in the future, you don't ever have to pay life insurance. I'm sorry, you don't ever have to pay taxes on life insurance. But the key is getting it while you're still healthy, because you actually have to apply for it. And there's certain companies that have tighter restrictions on who they will approve and who they will not approve. So the goal is to get it before it's too late, honestly.
Right. And so Carole, in our generation, the people in their 50s right now. So what would you say to some of our peers where, you know, we may have waited too late to get life insurance? Is it, you know, do we still have a chance to kind of make stuff right? So what do you have to say to that, to those individuals?
It is absolutely never too late. It is never too late. Yes. A good portion of the clients I work with are in my generation. Some of them are not. But it is never too late. With our company, we have over 77 different companies that we work with. So that means there's not a Cinderella shoe. If this shoe don't fit, we can't help you. That doesn't happen. If nothing else, there's always something to do. And this is what I say: if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you sit around and say, "Oh, well, I waited too late, it's nothing I can do." Really? You don't say that about anything else in life. So no, please know that if you do not do anything, then you're going to have somebody on the street corner looking for something. There's plenty of options.
Yeah.
There it is. All right. So Candiss, let everybody know how they can reach out to you.
Yes. You guys can actually find me on Instagram. My handle is the @ sign, and it's my first name, Candiss, CANDISS CREE. So that's Candiss Cree. Okay.
And Carole, what about yourself?
Well, I'm using Instagram a little bit more, but you can for sure find me on Facebook, Carole Hart. My Instagram is lowercase I, last name Hart Scholarships.
Hey, listen, we folks in our 50s, we love us on Facebook. We still trying to learn how to navigate through Instagram and all the other stuff. I'm still trying to get literate when it comes down to Instagram. I need to go to a class to learn how to use it, you know. But
let me make it real simple. If you are watching this telecast and you know James Finley, he has permission to give you my phone number. You call.
Well, there it is, right there.
Just pick up the phone.
There it is. You know, listen, I certainly appreciate you guys coming into the lab today to talk about this briefly. And I had a whole lot of other questions I could have asked, but I was saying to myself, you know what? If you guys want to know more about, you know, what's going on, hey, get in contact with me or reach out to them on their social media platforms, because they will be able to speak with you one-on-one and really educate you on what they're doing, not only with life insurance, but with WFG and the careers that they have taken with WFG has been wonderful. I mean, so there's opportunities. So Candice, tell everybody about the opportunities that they could possibly have being a part of WFG.
Oh my goodness. What I love most about our business platform is that it is no cap on the growth potential that you have.
Look at
So
that.
if you came into our business and said, I wanted to be a millionaire, that's possible. And in fact, you would have mentors that have achieved it already, so you would be more likely to achieve it yourself. If you came in and said, I would like to just make some additional income, maybe part-time basis, that's fine too. Most people actually take that approach because most people already have a life and they just are looking to make additional income and maybe understand money a little more. Then there's some people that say, I just would like to utilize the educational services that the platform has to offer. That's totally okay too. What I love about our business platform is it is holistic in entrepreneurship. So you come in with a full-blown schedule, a full-blown routine, and we can tailor the way that you receive training based on that. Nothing looks the same for everybody because it's not a job, it's a business. So we're going to be teaching you how to be a business owner.
Now this podcast is not just for California, but nationwide, worldwide. So so those viewers that are maybe in New York, Boston, Atlanta, is WFG available for them as well?
Absolutely. We have business partners all over the world. Me, myself, I recently had to get my Georgia, Tennessee, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, and Texas license within the last month, just because we've been expanding in those states. And I am more than willing to expand in all 50 states. We're also in Canada and Puerto Rico. So if you're not in America specifically, it's cool.
That's great. Carole, you have done well. Carole, you have done well.
You mean the telecast or Candice?
Yeah, with Candice. With Candice, you have done well. So listen, for the podcast, you guys have done exceptionally well. I want to thank you guys so very much for coming into the lab. You know, this has been educational for me, and I'm quite sure it has been educational for others. So ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank both of these lovely ladies for coming on in. So this is day 3 of the Financial Literacy Week with Carole Hart and Candiss Hart. I am your host, James Finley, and we're looking forward to our day 4 tomorrow with this podcast. So as I always end my podcast with this, keep God first place in your life, and you better believe he will take you places that you never dreamed of. Candice, Carole, thank you so very much. I will see you guys on the other side.
Peace.
Bye-bye.